Today, AI is everywhere. It helps people write emails. It creates amazing pictures in seconds. It answers questions, writes code, and even helps doctors save lives. Some people believe artificial intelligence is the greatest invention of our time. But have you ever stopped and wondered, where did it all begin? Most people think AI was born with ChatGPT, or maybe Google, or one of the giant tech companies. But that's not true. The real story started more than 70 years ago, back when computers were so big they filled entire rooms, and almost everyone believed a machine could never think. Until one man asked a question that sounded completely impossible. What if a machine could think like a human? That simple question changed history forever. In the early 1950s, a brilliant mathematician named Alan Turing was thinking about a question that most people considered impossible. At that time, computers were nothing like the powerful machines we know today. They were huge, expensive, and extremely limited. A computer could follow instructions, but could it actually understand something? Could it learn? Could it make decisions? Could it one day have a mind of its own? For many people, the answer was simple: no. Machines were just machines. But Alan Turing saw things differently. He believed that if humans could create a machine powerful enough, maybe that machine could do something nobody had ever imagined before. Maybe it could think. In 1950, Alan Turing published a paper that introduced a revolutionary idea. Instead of asking, "Can a machine think?" he created a different challenge. He asked, "Can a machine communicate so well that a person cannot tell the difference between a human and a computer?" This idea became known as the Turing Test. The concept was simple. A person would have a conversation with someone hidden behind a wall. That hidden partner could be either another human or a machine. If the person could not figure out which one it was, the machine would have passed the test. A few years after Alan Turing introduced his ideas, a small group of scientists started believing that machines could become much more than simple calculators. They imagined a future where computers could solve problems, understand information, and maybe even learn from experience. But there was one problem. Nobody had officially created a field for studying intelligent machines. There was no name for this new science. Until the summer of 1956, when a group of researchers gathered at Dartmouth College in the United States for a meeting that would change technology forever. Inside that Dartmouth meeting, computer scientist John McCarthy introduced a phrase that would become one of the most important words in modern technology: artificial intelligence. Those two words described a completely new idea, the possibility of creating machines that could perform tasks that normally required human intelligence. Things like learning, reasoning, solving problems, and understanding language. At the time, this idea sounded like science fiction. But these scientists believed something different. They believed the future of intelligent machines had already begun. After the Dartmouth Conference, scientists were more excited than ever. They believed that creating intelligent machines might not take hundreds of years. Maybe it could happen within a few decades. Researchers started building computer programs that could do things people thought only humans could do. They created programs that could solve puzzles, play simple games, and make decisions based on information. These machines were not truly thinking like humans yet, but for the first time in history, computers were beginning to do something that looked surprisingly intelligent. One of the earliest examples was a program called the Logic Theorist. Created in 1956 by Alan Newell, Herbert Simon, and Cliff Shaw, it was designed to solve mathematical problems using logical steps. This was a huge moment. For the first time, a computer program was not just following a simple command. It was searching for solutions. It was making choices between different possibilities. To many scientists, this felt like the beginning of a new era, a future where machines could become partners in human thinking. The success of these early programs created enormous excitement. Some scientists believed that human-level artificial intelligence was just around the corner. They imagined computers that could understand conversations, learn new skills, and solve problems as easily as humans. The future seemed closer than ever. But there was a problem. The scientists had underestimated how difficult human intelligence really was. The human brain was far more complicated than anyone had imagined. At first, everyone was excited about the future of artificial intelligence. Scientists made bold predictions. Some believed that computers would soon become as intelligent as humans. but reality was much harder than they expected. The early AI programs could solve simple problems, but when they faced real-world situations, they struggled. Understanding human language, recognizing objects, and learning from experience were much more complicated than anyone imagined. The dream of creating human-like intelligence was becoming a much bigger challenge than expected. As the years passed, excitement slowly turned into disappointment. Governments and companies had invested huge amounts of money into artificial intelligence, but the results were not as impressive as people expected. The technology was limited. Computers were still too slow, and there was not enough data to train intelligent systems. Because of these problems, funding began to disappear. This period became known as the AI winter, a time when many people believed artificial intelligence had failed. But artificial intelligence was not dead. Behind the scenes, scientists continued their research. They discovered new methods, created better algorithms, and waited for technology to catch up. Then, something changed. Computers became faster. The internet created massive amounts of data, and suddenly, machines had something they never had before: the ability to learn from millions of examples. For decades, scientists tried to teach computers using strict rules and instructions. But then, a new idea changed everything. Instead of telling machines every single step, what if we allowed them to learn by themselves? This idea led to a powerful technology called machine learning, and later, a more advanced approach called deep learning. Machines could now analyze enormous amounts of information, find patterns, and improve their abilities over time. The dream that started with Alan Turing's question was finally becoming reality. By the 2010s, artificial intelligence had entered a new era. Machines could recognize images, translate languages, understand speech, and create content that looked surprisingly human. AI was no longer just a scientific experiment hidden inside laboratories. It became something people around the world could use every day. And then, one moment changed everything. A technology that started as a question in a scientist's mind became available to millions of people. In 2022, millions of people experienced artificial intelligence in a completely new way. ChatGPT allowed ordinary people to have conversations with a machine that could write, explain, create, and help with everyday tasks. For many people, this was their first real interaction with AI. Suddenly, artificial intelligence was no longer just a concept from science fiction movies. It became a part of everyday life. But the story did not begin in 2022. It began more than 70 years earlier, with one simple question. Today, artificial intelligence is changing the world faster than ever before. But behind every AI system, every smart assistant, and every future invention, there is a story that began with curiosity. One person dared to ask a question nobody knew how to answer. Can machines think? That question started a journey that changed technology forever. Because every great invention begins with a simple idea, and every idea has a story. Every invention has a beginning, and every beginning has a story. The story of artificial intelligence started with one simple question: can machines think? Today, that question is changing the way we live, work, and imagine the future. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind the first AI, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. More incredible stories of the first inventions in human history are coming soon. See you in the next story.